be a bitch. Shooting like Curry, I swish. Why is you staring? Go take a pic. Ain't no comparing, I stay in my shit. I'm tryna blow up, bounce like Betty. Ho, I be ready. Why are these bitches so petty? I'm more concerned about Fetty. Bitches, they Fifi, ballin' like Mimi. I'm going viral, just like a meme. Ho, I'm John Cena. Bitches can't see me, I got the green. No, I'm not talking about seaweed. I'm in the pros, bitch, you just pee-wee. Sour and sweet like a kiwi. Oh, so now y'all need me. Hey, it's just mad they can't be me, but you can see me. Watch from TV, bitch. Janae. Hi bitches, what's good? It's Janae. I'm back with another video. In today's video, it's gonna be another episode in my life story series. My life story series is me just telling stories about my life in a chronological order. So from the youngest period of my life that I can remember, all the way up to current day now, which is when I'm 21. If you missed the other episodes, go back and check them out. We are in elementary school currently, almost about to go into middle school. I left off in 5th grade. But what I realized is that I haven't told you anything about my at-home life. I've talked a lot about school because there was a lot going on growing up at school. I struggled a lot and I got into a lot of trouble in school. So if you want to know more about that, definitely go back and check out my old videos. So today's video is going to be about at-home life. But real quick, before I get into that, I want to say I just recently dropped a mixtape. It's my debate mixtape. I've put out many songs before, but I have never put out like a full mixtape. It's up on SoundCloud and YouTube right now. I'm trying to get it on streaming platforms, but I don't know if I'll be able to. Also, if you could follow me on social media, that's the best way to stay up to date with everything that I'm doing. Links to all my social medias will be in the description. So originally my family had lived in Chicago and they moved when I was like 5 years old. So I don't remember anything from the old house, but they did move because they wanted to live in a safer area with better schools. So they moved us out to the suburbs. My mom wanted to move, but it was important for her that we don't move too far from the city. So despite being all the way out in the suburbs, we were only about an hour away from the city, which is a long way, but I mean, it's not too bad just to go down there. To get to downtown though, it was like an hour and a half, hour 40 minutes, but I could easily get to O'Hare Airport in like 50 minutes. So this neighborhood that we moved into, it was just being built. As a matter of fact, when we moved in, the neighborhood wasn't even completely finished being built. They were in the process of building a park, and there was just like a big dirt like mound I used to like ride my bike on. And yeah, it was fun, but it was dangerous. I definitely got cut up a lot. It was literally like a dirt bike, like I don't know, it was huge. It was just a huge dirt mound because they were in the middle of construction and everything, but it was fun for the time being. So it was a really cool situation where there's all these new families moving in and none of us kids know anybody. So the first person I met was a girl named Cassie. Me and my sister were out and we went to the park and she was there and we just started talking and we got along really well. Cassie was 2 years older than me and she was 1 year younger than my sister. So she was basically like in between our ages. I'm not sure in which the order I met the other friends, but I am going to say the names I'm using. These are not real names. These are fake names I have given them. But basically, my friend group within this neighborhood was Tyler, Dante, Aaron, Chase, Jay, Nico, and Cassie. And if you remember, Cassie was in my other videos because she ended up going to Camelot with me. And there's some crazy stories about her in that. So I had this friend group that I made really fast. As a kid, I was good at making friends. We were all new to the neighborhood, so it was just a perfect situation to just make new friends, and it was easy. There was, however, a few kids whose parents knew each other before they moved into that neighborhood, so they were a little bit closer than the rest of us. And it was lit. Like, we'd be outside every single day, which is something that I don't think kids do as often nowadays. I am 21, so I feel like people my age were like the last people to experience a childhood where like you're just outside all day. Like, kids are not supposed to be in the house. Like, kids are supposed to be outside unless it's shitty outside. So we're outside every day playing basketball, playing football, playing cops and robbers, doing whatever and just having fun. Now, there is something that's unique to my situation growing up, and that's that because I went to these alternative schools, a lot of the kids that went there were from the hood. So when I wanted to hang out with my good friends at school, I would end up going in the hood. So it was like I was living in two worlds. Here I am in suburbia with like my friends, just having a good time. And I would also go in the hood and hang out with these little ghetto kids. And we'd have a good time, but we'd be a little bit more mischievous. There's things that we get involved in that little kids probably shouldn't be. Like, a few of my friends were drug runners for various gangs and shit in the neighborhood. If you don't know what a drug runner is, that's basically like, instead of the plug like going and giving the drugs directly to the person that's buying them, they'll send a kid to go do it and collect the money, just so that like it's less suspicious and cops aren't gonna think shit. Also, we'd watch out for cops and like we tell them like if the cops were gonna come or some shit, and they'd give us money, which was straight. Like, your kids, like, what else are you gonna do to make money? Like, in the hood, it's just what happens. A lot of my friends were also in a tag game called MOE, Money Over Everything. If you don't know what the tag game is, it's basically they would just go around and they'd spray paint the letters MOE on everything. We'd spray paint this shit on like stop signs, speed limit signs, behind the fucking high school that was like right by the hood. We'd spray it on like the basketball court, on fucking trees even. Like, it was bad. And we'd also do things like steal from the store. At like just little shit like candy and like snacks and shit from the gas station or from Walmart, from wherever. So yeah, so I was living in these like two different worlds. And then going back, like, people definitely knew that like I was involved in shit. Even when I was young, like, people knew that like I was just like more ghetto and shit. Like, and the crazy thing is that despite being in such a nice suburban neighborhood, all my friends were minorities. Like, in that neighborhood, all the friends I mentioned, they were minorities. They were all Mexican, Puerto Rican, and black. That's just what it was. There was across the street, like, if you kept going down to like the next neighborhood, which is technically kind of our neighborhood, but it's a different neighborhood at the same time. It was weird. If you go over there though, there's a bunch of white kids that I'd hang out with every now and then. Now, I didn't like these kids this much because these kids were spoiled fucking brats and they were arrogant little assholes, and their parents were all pieces of shit too. Plus, these kids were racist. Like, when I didn't want to hang out with them, they'd get mad and they'd be like, oh, like come play football. I'd be like, no, I want to play basketball with like Tyler and Dante or whatever. And they'd be like, oh, you're gonna go hang out with fucking like black people and shit? You're a fucking wigger. I'm just like we're kids. Like, it's crazy that like their parents were definitely fucking racist. I've been around their parents. I never liked their parents either. I'm gonna get into some stories real quick. I'm gonna get into some crazy stories that I had growing up in this neighborhood. And yeah, it's going to be lit. So one of our favorite games to play in the wintertime when it snowed is that Tyler had like a little fucking hill on his property, right? So we used to like sled and like snowboard down that shit, and it was fun. But we created a game called the pushing game, which essentially it was King of the Hill. So like we'd stand up on top of the hill and we'd have to try to push each other off the hill. And the last one to not be at the bottom of the hill wins. Pretty simple, right? But as kids, like, you get really into it. I remember one time there was like a big pile up and like people were like all on the ground on the hill trying not to fall down, like holding onto people's legs, and everyone was just trying to get up. And I don't remember what happened, but somehow we all just ended up at the bottom. Like, we literally all ended up at the bottom of the hill. And I was tired as fuck, so I'm laying down. I closed my eyes for a second, and then like all I hear is everybody fucking screaming. Everybody's screaming, and I see Tony holding his eye with his face down in the snow. I look at the snow, and there's like a bunch of fucking blood like all over the snow. And like I come over there, I'm like, yo, what the fuck? What the fuck? So then, like, we're like, Tyler, let me see your eye. Let me see your eye. And so we look at Tyler's eye, and this motherfucker has a cut that's, like, below his eye, but also goes, like, fucking onto his eye. And it looked pretty bad. Like, he was bleeding pretty bad. And it was, like, as a kid, it was pretty nasty. And we're being loud as shit. So his dad comes out. He's like, what the fuck y'all yelling about or whatever? And Tony's, like shows him his eye. And, like, Tony's, like, crying and shit. I meant Tyler. I'm sorry. I always fuck these names up. It doesn't really matter. There's a million fucking Tonys in the world. I'm gonna keep calling him Tyler though. I'm sorry I fucked these names up so bad, but yeah. And so Tyler's dad is like, "Oh, you fucking idiot! Like, get in the house, whatever." And I was like, "Damn." So that was a pretty crazy story. Another story that I vividly remember is it was 4th of July and there was a bunch of fireworks going out. Everybody was out. A lot of people were cooking out and shit. It was dark as fuck. It was like 9 o'clock at night. And it was like 9:10 at night. It was late. I don't remember what time it was. But we were only out there because like it was 4th of July. So our parents let us be out there. And we found out that with my basketball hoop, because we all had basketball hoops, but I had one, and the way that mine worked is that you could like tip it down because it wasn't like cemented in the ground, so you could tip it down. And what we found out you could do is that like if we like put it up to 10 feet and then we tipped it down and then we let it go, it would like launch us up. Because being kids, like the sandbags or whatever the fuck was in the bottom of the hoop, like that weighed more than us. So we were doing this and it was really fun. Dangerous? Yeah, it probably was fucking dangerous. But we would do it and we'd put it to like 6 feet and then we'd hang on to it and we'd like do the thing to like lift it all the way up so you'd like launch up in the air. And Cassie goes, put it to 10 feet and just like let it go. I want to launch up. So we're like, all right, bet. So we do it, right? And she goes up, but then like when it goes up, it starts rocking and we're like, oh shit. And it falls back. She's falling back, holding on to the rim. So like she can't protect her head or shit. And this bitch, like she literally slaps her head like right on the fucking concrete with her head. And we all run over there. She's still got the hoop like on her basically. So we push the hoop off and she's not moving. She's not saying shit. And we're all looking at her like, what the fuck? Like, are you okay? Like, Cassie, what happened? Like, are you good? And this bitch, just out of nowhere, a smile forms. And she just starts fucking laughing. And she's like, that shit was fun. I'm like, you're fucking insane. Like, Cassie was always really crazy. In this neighborhood is also the first time that I ever smoked weed. One of my very close friends, we're going to call him Reggie. I had met Reggie in alternative school, and him and another boy who I don't remember his name, so we're just going to call him other boy that was with us. He came over to my neighborhood one day, and we were hanging out with like all the friends that I just talked about in my neighborhood. And he pulls out a little bag and he's like, hey, let's go smoke this. I'm like, yo, like, what's that? I'm 11 years old. I don't know shit about that, right? And he's like, it's fucking weed. Like, it's dope. You gotta try it. I was like nervous and shit, but I'm like, all right, I'm down. None of my friends were down. So there's this little forest area that's like kind of near the neighborhood. So we go over there and he pulls out this fucking like Sharpie. And it's like cut up. There's no Sharpie in it. And there's like a hole on the top with a little bolt. And then the part where the Sharpie would be is just nothing in there. So I'm like, yo, what the fuck? And he's like, I made this. It's my pipe. And I was like, damn, this kid made a pipe. And it was legit as fuck. Like, I don't know how this little 11-year-old managed to do this, but there's literally like a nut, like a bolt, like one of the metal things, like in there to be the bowl piece. And it worked really well. It was Reggie, though. The weed that we smoked, by the way, partially why I'm giving him the nickname Reggie, but we were 11 years old. Who's going to sell gas to a fucking 11-year-old? Like, that's not going to happen. So I remember smoking it, and I remember thinking, like, oh, well, this isn't shit. I'm not feeling anything. And then he's like, oh, just wait a little bit. And so, like, I literally walk out of, like, the little forest area, and I'm on the street, and I just, like, my world just changes. Like, everything around me looks different. Like, my body movements and shit kind of slowed down, and like colors were brighter and shit. And I just remember feeling fucking happy and giggly. So we went back to the park where the rest of my friends were, and they were kind of all just like giving me shit for like smoking or whatever. Like, oh, like you're druggy now, blah blah blah, whatever. And I was like, yeah, whatever. Like, weird. It was just fun as fuck. I was just geeked up. I was like giggling and shit. I was saying stupid shit. Like, it wasn't making any sense. Now, I have one last story to tell from my childhood neighborhood before I go, and that's going to be when I was 12 years old, something really bad in my life happened, and my closest friend in that neighborhood, Cassie, she was forced by the state of Illinois to go and live with her sister. I believe if it's her sister, don't quote me on that. But yeah, so I remember her telling me that she had a week left in the neighborhood. And I just remember this because we were just outside. It was the day after Halloween. And we were just going to all the porches, taking their pumpkins and fucking smashing them in the street. And then after all that, like, that's when she told me. And I remember that day because it was like the last like day that it was just me and her. And it was just really good day. But it was also sad because it's the day I found out that she was going to leave. But I definitely remember that. It was just like a very peaceful day. We were just talking, smashing pumpkins, as we do. But yeah, so we're going to get into middle school real soon. I think next episode I will be talking about middle school. And like I've been saying, shit really heats up when I get older, when we get into the crazy bullshit in my life that I have done. Anyways, I love y'all bitches so much. Thank you for watching. Thank you for supporting me. Fucking peep my mixtape. Links in the bio. Link is in the description. Sorry. Anyways, bye bitches. Love y'all.
So call me Mr. Vader. I stay on my grind like a skater. Won't hook up for free, I ain't made it. I always be swagging, but ain't got no tailor. I stay dripping sauces, a whole lot of flavors. I drill D, all white Gucci shoes on my feet. I don't need no worry, I don't need no lamp, cause I roll with the squad, so I think I need a G. Horn go BB, I'm the nigga came from nothing, I was stuck in the street. I was with it since a baby, if you tryna be with me, you gotta be on my team. I done really took an oath, I won't never take a L. If you acting like I owe you, disappearing like a spell. I'm fast like a cheetah, you slow like a snail. I always be winning, I never do fail. I pop out the beat like a turtle, she turtle no